an episode of the Hammerbarn Project. Right, well, let's see you do it. Gallipoli reference.
Peter Weir, 1981.
Frank, how are you?
I'm very well, mate. Yourself?
Yeah, doing really good because I'm here talking about Bluey.
That's what we
with
do.
Frank and Martin.
Yay!
Yeah!
Here we are.
This episode of the Hammerbarn Project is called Greyhound Talk.
How are you guys?
Yeah, good.
Yeah, good. Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
This is,
Keen to get amongst it.
let's do it.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Let's get amongst it.
This episode of Bluey is called Obstacle Course.
That is amongst it.
It's about as amongst it as you can get because you're amongst, what is it, gnomes crawling under chairs, under trampolines,
Yoga ball.
down slides. But I'm sorry, I'm getting carried away here.
Yeah.
I want to get through the course.
Oh boy. But this episode, well, it's number 2. Well, look, technically, I think everyone's decided that Perfect was the first episode.
Correct.
Of
As far
season
as our friends at the Bluey Wiki are concerned, this is episode 3 of season 3.
Yeah, cool. Because when they dropped the first chunk of season 3,
yes,
Bedroom kind of had that first episode feel about it.
correct.
But it's kind of since been labeled as 2, and this is 3.
Yep.
But I love this episode. It pumps me up so much. But like you said, Frank.
Let's.
Even though
It's not for us
we
to spoil.
we were very tempted to get amongst it,
Mhm.
but let's take our amongstness down
Not a word.
and send it to someone who's always amongst.
He's amongst the course part of this title. You know, he's a course lecturer / teacher / informant.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah, okay.
He's
You
amongst the
got that.
bones.
Well done.
Amongst the
He's amongst the bare bones. Shall we hear about him?
Yeah, it took you long enough. Okay. So I think this is just an homage to any film that has a getting better montage in it. Of particular note, in my mind, for some reason, is the one from Cool Runnings. Maybe because it's got a stopwatch in it.
Yeah.
And also because I haven't mentioned Cool Runnings.
Stopwatch. We'll get to that. Oh,
But,
boy.
yeah. So, no, what is it really an episode about? Okay.
It's referencing that particular every movie with a getting better montage.
Yeah. As you said, Brent, it just pumps you up. Just makes you feel good. Because they're getting better. And by the end of the montage, they're that bit better. The other one was going to be Karate Kid. That's going to be like,
yes,
that was going to be the other sort of,
He's the best.
around.
What is it? The crane kick?
Homestar Runner. Oh, sorry, Marty.
I was gonna say
you go. My reference has nothing to do with anything.
I was going to say the crane kick,
Yes,
represented in
the
the
crane
episode.
technique.
Like it's the final thing as memory snap. The final thing that's going to take down that.
boy.
Anyway, no,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But no, what is it really about?
Wait, let's
What's
get to
this-
my stupid reference then.
Yeah,
It was
okay,
in
all right.
Homestar Runner with the wagon full of pancakes. And
Yeah.
a wagon full of pancakes in the championship. I'd like to see him twice. and then at the end, with the score, if you click on the thing and you get to the secret Easter egg, he's just like lying on the floor in the gymnasium, and it's like zeros. He's on zero score on the scoreboard, and he's just saying, "You're the best. Oh wow. never gonna get me down." And then the scoreboard goes bang, and it goes to -1. Anyway, that's a really niche reference. Everybody, homestarrunner.com.
Oh, wow.
Just do yourselves a
That
favor
is
if
old
you
school.
haven't already.
Old school. I think a lot of their stuff's on YouTube these
It is.
days
It has to be because Flash is not
dead.
supported.
Yeah. Right.
And now Bluey, was it?
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Oh, man, can we do a Homestar Runner podcast?
Oh,
snap. Moving on.
So this episode is about the girls. They're playing games and they decide to build a obstacle course. And Dad comes out. He wants to turn it into a race. He beats Bluey. But then they decide that they really want to beat Dad. So it's about how do you get better and what happens when you try and beat your dad at an obstacle course.
Oh, boy.
To get sherbet.
Sherbet,
That's the goal of
sherbet bribes always work.
That's what like gold medals are made of, right? They're like
Sherbet.
sponge you for sherbet. Yeah. It's like why you do the thing.
I love bingo in this episode because
Yeah.
like she's not the one learning the moral lesson.
Oh, no.
She's not learning any of this.
She's
She
not
wants
learning
the
a lot,
sherbet.
to be honest.
Like, oh, does it taste a
Sherbet's
bit-
meant to taste sour.
Yeah, does it taste a bit sour, doesn't it? But it's meant to.
Bingo is probably the winner of this. We've already mentioned it, the stopwatch.
Oh,
Zero.
boy. Just, yeah. She goes, 0.
And
She's
then-
like, 0. Oh,
you put-
honey,
it's
you
this
forgot
button.
to press the button.
Oh.
It's this button, yeah.
And-
And then later she does it, and it's while the music's still
It's
really
part of the
inspirational.
montage,
And she
isn't
goes,
it?
oh, 0.
And
She's like, looks straight at the screen
And
like she hasn't learned anything.
And then also,
Oh, man.
she's like in the end credits, Bingo walks out with her stopwatch and she's looking at the watch, looking up at the names, looks back, like all anticipation, and then turns it to face camera and it's 0.
Does that really happen?
Yes, in the end credits.
I completely missed that.
It's wonderful.
I usually try and watch the episode before we record.
Yep.
Now I'm going to watch it after we record because I need to see that. I'm so that's amazing.
And I love
So
that
good.
during the montage, it's also Bingo getting trained in how to use the thing better.
Yeah.
That's also part of
Yes.
what you're learning as part of
Yes.
the montage. But we should go back to the opening sequence.
Yes,
So
sorry,
they're
sorry,
playing
sorry. We're all
playing
Irish.
the board games, and like he's being the mongoose, which is just like I don't know.
I'm like a mongoose. You're a goose, all right.
Oh, Chili's got some absolute pearly, amazing backhanders.
Such
Yeah.
a mum comment. That is like Chili at her mum best.
Yeah.
Just, you're a goose, all right.
And why is that? And he's just too involved in what he's doing to realize his own hypocrisy.
Yes.
Of just going, no, why don't you like it? Because I lose every time.
Yeah. Oh man, this whole thing is like a study in Bandit and what it's like to be,
A competitive dad.
I guess, a bloke who just does want to win.
I took this.
Like-
I took this as this is what you're like when you've got two brothers.
Right, yeah.
fair.
Yep.
I
Yep.
think there's also that thing of, the kids are your offspring, right? So inherently, you're particularly at that age, you're better than them at everything.
Yeah.
We know Bandit's a bit of a sporto. He's good mates with Pat. He used to play rugby before he wrecked his back, changing their nappies. And he's got that competitive streak in him, and you see that in a lot of other episodes. So this is him just going, he doesn't have to pretend anymore. He's like, sometimes you might want to race the kids and you deliberately, you're not
Yeah.
running as fast as you can to let the kids win. No, he's like, obstacle course. This is my jam. You're using
Yeah,
my
let's
green.
race.
You're
No.
using my green ball.
Yeah.
Let's bring it on. And
You-
and it's highlighted particularly well when in the big finale when he yanks Bluey back.
Yeah.
And in that moment, before Chili or anyone has even said anything, you see his face and he knows what he's done. He's like, oh. And then Chili calls him on it and she's like, what happened there? And he's like, yeah, I don't know really. Like, it was just a white line fever
I
reflex.
totally believe that it was white line fever and he just genuinely did not.
Yeah.
It was all reflex.
Yeah.
And he's just like examining himself. Oh man, yeah. There's so much to talk about.
Yeah.
We're racing through it. Lol.
Hey.
But not to take away from the girl's abilities at all. But that obstacle course looks so good that I assume like Chili's put heaps of effort into setting
Yes.
this up for them. And Bandit comes out, and the first thing he thinks of is,
Where's
let's
the finish
race.
line? Well,
Let's race.
he says, "Where's the
Yeah,
finish
where's
line?"
the finish
They
line?
don't have a finish line because Chili's exact words are,
No.
"It's just for fun." Like,
It's just-
That's
but,
loser talk.
but I ju-
the smack talk from Bandit is incredible.
like
Like,
he's a grown man, and they're
is he
children,
though?
and it smacks with the vibe of he just wants to win. Even though the situation is their children, like there's nothing. I've got mixed feelings because on the surface, there's nothing more pathetic than just like wanting to win at all costs against kids and still claiming that as a victory. But at the same time, I totally understand where he's coming from, and that's what I'm like.
See, to your point, Marty, like you said, this comes as a result of him growing up with brothers. I look at it the other way. He's in a house full of girls, and so
okay.
as the male,
gotta
he's
take
like
victory when
he's
he-
like, look, I don't win a lot of battles in here.
Yeah.
Pick your battles and all that sort of mentality. So he goes, but running and obstacle courses and physical activity, that's my jam. I'm
man.
here to win.
I just love how much his tail's wagging when he's getting pushed back inside to go get his sherbet.
Yeah.
He's just so happy this time. That was fun. Let's go back to having fun. That was fun. Which takes us a lot back to, like, we were talking about Calypso, the episode Calypso a little while ago. And it also in that original sequence of like, you know, you don't let them win. You try it because then you won't try to get better.
Yeah.
So I think it's another episode playing with that sort of idea of like when it's an episode about mentors really, like different types of mentors. So you've got Bandit, who's the mentor, who's just kind of like gonna give you a line that you have to get to, I guess, but not really support you to get there yourself in any way because it's just more about himself. But, you know, it's still, because you show it, you're not just playing to them and, you know, like just letting them do whatever. And then you got Chili as a mentor who actually
teaches them stuff.
Shows them how to cheat. I mean, no way, to practice.
Chili, who's not just being really selfish.
I must admit, when I first watched this episode, I came away from it going, that's the closest Bandit's ever been to a true villain. Like he was, you know, and I know Joe's talked about there's no villains in Bluey, but I came away from it just going, Bandit, like, not cool, bro. Like, and yet having watched it again, I'm finding more and more I'm siding with Bandit and the joy he's taking at this.
It's all in fun. 100%.
It is all in fun. And I think he knows, like anyone else, there's going to come a point where his kids will surpass him at all things.
He's just taking what he can get while he can get it.
Exactly.
Let's think about it, though. Of the three of us, who is Bandit in this scenario?
I feel like you have an answer already, Marty.
Yeah.
You're going.
I'm looking at you, Frank.
Yeah, exactly.
The man likes to win. What can I say?
Look, honestly.
I've played video games with you, Frank. I know how much you like to win.
It's true. It's true. I love Mortal Kombat, but I'm terrible at it. But when, and I say when, not if, when Jack learns to play cricket, I'm going to struggle very hard to not just like bowl a ripping leg break and gloat at the fact that I've taken his off stump out the ground.
He's just going to be there crying and you'll be like, on your way, tell your story, Walker Jack.
To the pavilion.
It just takes him forever because he's like 4.
Mum will have some sherbet for him. I love what's Chili's line when she says, you know, there's only one thing. There's only one thing.
Oh, Bluey says something to the effect of, I want to win fair and square.
Let you win.
And Chili's like, well, I guess there's only one thing to do. And Bluey's like, cheat. She's like, yeah, cheat. Wait, no.
I meant practice.
Yeah.
But Bingo's like, yeah, cheat. And they go off and get ready to cheat. And then when they do, I got to tell you, fellas, Bandits, Dave McCormick's delivery of the line, nice work, Bluey, you won. And does the air quotes. The way he says that line is so funny. It's just perfect. It makes me laugh so much. The sarcasm just, like, could feel it through the screen. It's so funny.
You know what else Dave McCormack's pretty good at? Making chicken noises.
Yes, we talked about it.
And the hilarious part is that the girls just don't get it.
Yeah,
because they're not from that era where calling someone chicken, aka Marty McFly, was a
that's
thing.
right. It's gone, isn't it?
And so it's at first you're sitting there going, how come they don't get it? And then when you think about it, you go, well, that's calling someone chicken and trying to get a reaction out of them. Yeah, that's not the girl's era at all.
That's so funny.
Love Bingo's line. Just like he's saying you're scared of
chickens.
Yeah. It's almost like an evaluation of why it was ever a thing in the first place.
Yeah, exactly.
I think I'm going, oh, well, Bingo, silly, you don't understand. And then I think, well, hang on, she's got a point. She's the smart one here.
And yet, by contrast to that, I heard some year 12 girls today using the word slay in the same way that is in SLAY.
Yeah.
In the same way that we in our day would have used like, oh, that's soft, right? They used it as a positive thing. Like, oh, I did really good on my exam. Oh, slay.
Yeah.
Slay.
Like I slay that. But what was soft? Is that one?
Oh, that's not something you
soft
use?
as in like weak?
Well, again, I'm a little bit older than
is
the
this
pair
a
of you.
Ross Trevor thing?
It might be a Rossi thing, but
Rossi
that was used as a, hey, I've got this really cool whatever. And you go, oh, that's soft.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, I have never heard that.
That sounds pretty soft to me.
Well, you know,
All right,
Rossi
showing
boys.
my age here.
Rossi boys are pretty soft, so
Yeah, also a bit more competitive than what are you, Gleason?
yeah, well done. Yeah, no, I certainly didn't play cricket there. Though. I mean, people did, but not me.
One of the other words that it slipped past me, and I was like, is it an Australianism? Is whooped. You guys are going to get whooped again.
Oh, yeah.
Gonna get whooped.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it just took
Could
me
be.
it's like a lot. Sometimes they stand out, those sort of
Yeah.
things. But yeah,
No,
so it's
no,
like,
I think
get
I've heard
beaten
that
like
again.
you get, you know, you get a whooping.
Yeah.
You know, you get
yeah,
an
okay.
whooping.
But
Yeah.
that in a similar sense to Frank's word, that kind of brings back
Yeah,
prior
sure.
experience of just being
Yeah,
at
sure.
school, and that would be a word that get pulled out.
Oh, but I get. Can we talk about the reference?
Yes, you can.
Thank you. So, my sister watched this episode before me when it dropped. She watched it the day before. I couldn't watch it on the day. I had to watch it the morning, the next morning before work. And she said, Brendan, you're going to love this episode because of one bit, one line. Okay. And I'm there before work. It's early in the morning. I put it on. What are your legs? And I said, no, they couldn't possibly. You know, springs, steel springs. And I just punch in the air. That movie meant a lot. I watched that in school.
Yeah.
That movie meant a lot. The first song I ever wrote was about the Battle of the Neck, which is the Anzac battle, the Gallipoli battle that happens at the end of the film. And I just thought this, like, it needed to get any better. Just, and even the little, like, the bluification of it,
The little tweak.
the little tweak, you know, what are they going to do? Hurl me down the track. How fast can you run? Of course, as fast as a leopard, but as fast as a greyhound.
Yep.
How fast are you going to run? As fast as a greyhound. And
Chills.
and Bandit's reaction when he comes out again, you're like, oh, you ready? And he's stretching. He goes, I've inspected the track. No nasty surprises. And he goes, and they do that line.
Bit more greyhound talk than last time, but that's okay.
And then he's genuinely surprised that, and how good a teacher and a coach is Chili. Like
Yeah.
all the little montage things,
Yep.
and just like, you know, you don't have to do. And you could see Hockey Mum coming out 100%.
Yes.
Just
Oh.
that. I mean, Chili is competitive in her. Actually, every bit as competitive as Bandit.
Yep.
But she's just pulling her head in this episode, and Bandit is not at all. But I just love that Chili does get the kids have a victory, but Chili kind of gets one up on Bandit in competitiveness. She's like, well, hang on, if we actually coach and nurture these things, you know, let's have a little faith and trust that they can. But of course, Bandit does the thing.
Yeah. Bad.
And
Bad
that shot when Bandit does grab and just like, because it's sort of side on the whole time, and then there's a shot
come to the
front
light,
on
yeah.
to Chili and Bingo, and Chili's delivery of what was that?
Yeah.
The arm movements. It's so, and Bingo next to her with the stopwatch, just devastated.
Yeah.
Just
Could not believe Dad did that. Yeah.
It's just every step of the way is perfection.
You know what I was mentioning, that I've been watching more episodes. I'm getting better at long dog spotting.
Oh, you found
Let's
it. I
hear
was
it.
about to
Let's
say.
hear it.
Doggy
It is
treats.
on the top of the shelving in the background of the main room. isn't
Nice.
it?
Correct.
Yeah, it's a very small
Yes.
one. But no, I have been actually getting better at but seeing them. So I've even noticed some of the ones from episodes that we've already done the podcast on. Whoops.
Nice.
But yeah, so I'm in the game now. I know. I know how to
Excellent.
do
You're on the
thing.
board.
Yeah,
Not that it's a competition, but you're on the
No,
board.
no.
Brendan's not.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I was not listening.
Also,
Zero.
standard modus operandi.
Speaking about standard modus operandi, can I tell a little story about Steve Mould?
Who's that?
Steve Mould is a science YouTuber, and I adore him. And
Yes,
I've
you really do.
Yeah.
I feel like you've sold us your story before.
Yeah,
but go on.
no, this is a new story.
Okay.
But yes, anybody listening, if you like science, which I do because I'm a big old nerd, please check out Steve Mould, spelt like it sounds. His YouTube channel, he's brilliant. He does really intuitive science videos, and he's excellent. I'm a patron of his, and he does like Q&As for his patrons. And I had one recently, and he started doing them on Discord for patrons, you know, reasonable patron prices. And he started doing it on Discord, so you can turn your mic on and chat to him.
Yep.
And so I did standard modus operandi, what I could probably be accused of doing on this podcast, and I hogged the mic. and had a big old,
That's never happened
a big old
before.
conversation with Steve Bolton. It was lovely, and we were talking about card games because he the game Spot It, or in the UK it's called Dobble. It's this incredible card game that's mathematically brilliant. Matt Parker, another YouTuber I like, a maths YouTuber, did a whole video on it. But anyway, getting to the point, he was saying that there's another game called Set that he plays with his kids, and I jokingly said, it's probably pretty good because it evens the playing field, because while your child is trying to win, you might get distracted and just be trying to figure out the game. Mm-hmm. And he said, because it's hard to throw a game. It's like, I don't always want to throw a game, but like if I'm throwing the game because I'm trying to figure out how it works, then I kind of feel a bit better about that. And I actually told him, I said, well, have you seen any Bluey, Steve?
Hey.
And he goes, no, we've got that on CBeebies, don't we? And I said, yeah, you do.
Obstacle
and I'm like,
course,
and he goes, is it even a little bit scary? Because and I said no, it's suitable for all ages. And he goes, all right, so I think he's going to get it. So I think Steve Mould's on the old Bluey train now, hopefully, because someone had recommended Adventure Time to him, and that can be for younger viewers. There's like zombies and stuff.
That's scary for me in places.
I think there was some Mould children losing sleep over that, and he thought, that I said no. Rest assured with Bluey, and it was just really funny because I had a conversation with one of my heroes about how it's hard to throw a game, and we also talked about how he played Memory Snap, because what I love in this episode is that it is totally believable that Bluey would genuinely be better at Memory Snap than Bandit. It's the kind of game, it is hard to throw a game, and there's so many games that you would need to throw with children because they're children. So it's obvious that Bandit, when all is fair, would win an obstacle course because he's an adult male who can run really fast. But I don't think he would have been faking that he lost at Memory Snap. He's genuinely bad at it. He shies away from it. And I would believe that Bluey has the skills that Bandit doesn't. And I just really love that wind up of the episode. How about we settle this with a game of Memory Snap? And and Bandit's like genuinely terrified. Oh no. It's just believable, and that makes it really nice. And did anybody else want to say anything instead?
No, you just keep going there, Chad.
It's like my conversation with Steve Mould all over again.
What other YouTubers do you watch?
Welcome to the what Brendan's watching on YouTube podcast.
Yeah, Brendan's YouTube
I'm a big Smarter Everyday fan. Smarter Everyday.
I will throw out, you mentioned doggy treats there, Marty. One more. This sort of marks the first unofficial appearance of Brandy, aka Chili's sister, albeit in picture format.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, in the background of the what looks like the front of the house, where they've got pictures on the wall, and you see a photo there of all of Chili's family with Grandpa and Chili and Brandy. So that was not. This is, of course, a long time before.
Of course, we can't speak about Brandy too much because I can hear the newspapers getting rolled up as we speak.
Well, if you got to see the Bluey stage show, which I believe has just recently announced new
stage
dates.
show loophole.
There you go.
Frank gets us with that every time.
I believe it's finally, with all COVID stuff sort of beginning to clear up, it's announced some international venues and stuff. I know our friends at Two Bandits Watching Bluey are very excited. It's coming to their hometown in
is it now?
Syracuse. Yeah.
Fantastic.
So they were pretty pumped to get a look at that. But yes, Brandy gets a mention in that stage show, which I believe predates this episode. So it was all tied in MCU, like it was all part of the plan before we see here in another episode that I won't talk about.
The multi-Blueyverse is real.
And there is another photo up on the wall there with potentially Chili's mum, because there's somebody sitting on a horse who looks a bit like Brandy but is an adult. So I think it's interesting. Yeah, interesting to get some more detail on those family photos.
Have I said this in the previous podcast? This is I could quiz you on what Chili's maiden name is.
Yes, I was wondering that actually.
Yeah, no, well, I was looking up a little bit about Chili's family. Of course, Brandy, sister. Mort is the name of her dad.
Yep.
But her mum is only credited as Mrs. Surname. And
it's a strange surname.
No. I didn't even realize that you were making a joke. Oh, that's how withered I am not. No, it's pretty cool. It's she's credited as Mrs. Cattle. So Chili Cattle Dog. It's just layers. quick note on the music. It's so fun. Ba, 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 ba. And the kind of funky guitar in that bit and those kind of rising chords.
Yeah.
I don't know. It makes me think of Wolfpack. I don't know if anybody else maybe I'll just listen to way too much Wolfpack. But Joff Bush, if you're listening and there's a little bit of, Corey Wong guitar in there and a little bit of Joey Dosick horns going maybe I'm just out of my head. But it just makes me think of that. And then the training montage song just did make me think of all those 80s training montages.
In terms of like not music but cinematography, the in the training montage, the low shots as she's with the focus is like cutting between the gnomes. It's a brilliant, like from the front, from the back type of shots. I'm glad I remembered to mention that because they're just so beautiful. The sliding backwards and forth across the frame, it just really gives it's really fantastic. Like one of those classic montage element type things. So nice.
And then the final shot as they're running to the line where it's front on and there's like almost the anime style like streaks going past them type thing. I love that shot as well.
That was the correct choice to make to animate that bit where Bandit just kind of loses himself and grabs Bluey and pulls her behind him.
Yep.
That was so good. It was so Astro Boy.
And it's just when you're a kid, you do go that fast.
Yeah.
That's how it feels. Like, the world is blurring around you.
That's what running feels like.
And you make those sounds because those sounds make you go fast. Make the sounds of you whooshing.
And I know we sort of briefly, in Brendan's opening monologue, briefly touched on the inspiration for the famous quote. I don't think we ever actually clearly, for our international listeners, I don't think the movie that we're referring to
did I actually say the name of the movie?
I think you did really, really quickly.
No, it's
you might want a bit of an explanation as to the Steel Springs and Leopard reference.
Oh, well, it's the 1981 Peter Weir film, Gallipoli, that focuses on a young man's journey from Australia to the Dardanelles Strait, where a lot of the Anzac battles were fought in World War I on the Turkish beaches of Gallipoli. And it's a very stirring film with very groundbreaking music, actually. There's a piece of music in there called Oxygen, and it's a very, very
early synth track?
heralded synth track. It was a real game changer, and to use it in that film artistically was a big leap. And there's just lots about it to love. And I think the character of Uncle Jack, I think is the name of the character, who is is it Archie?
No, it's been a
Mel
while.
Gibson's in it.
Yeah, a very young Mel Gibson. Most international listeners wouldn't probably recognize him because he's very, very young. But don't hold that against the film. It's a beautiful film to the point, as Brendan alluded to. It gets studied in Australian classrooms all around the nation because it is that amazing representation of one of the more famous wartime events that helped shape our nation, basically.
And it's a really lovely balance of sort of national pride and remembrance, but also touches on the argument of the futility of war, and it's a classic film. It's
not a war movie; it's a movie about war, if that makes sense. Do you know what I mean? So it's not one of these that glorifies it and that sort of thing. It's a balanced
shy
approach.
Away from And I'm just gonna stop this. Zero.
No, Brendan, you press. It's this button.
It's the wrong
here.
button.
Yep, that one. There.
I should really learn more about this if I'm going to be a podcaster.
Did you stop recording?
Did you stop? The numbers are meant to go up on a podcast recording.
Oh man, this is going to be really hard to sync.
Have you been recording?
Definitely. I hope so. I guess we'll find out.
There's a little part of him that's nervous right now.
There really is. I guess, listener, you'll know when we know whether this got to you at all. But thank you for being there for it to get to you if it does. We value your listenership. Thanks, Frank, for doing the things you do.
Thanks, Brenny. It's been fun.
And thanks, Marty, for doing the things
you
that Frank
meant to
does.
call him Frank.
I was going to call him Frank again. My memory's not great. I'm not good at memory snap either.
No worries, Brandon. I'm glad I'm here for you.
I'm glad we're all here. I'm glad you're here, listeners. And listeners, if you want to make a obstacle course of your own, I'm pretty sure you could find everything you need at your local Hammer Barn down aisle 300
Over the green yoga bowl.
Up and down the slide.
Slalom through the garden gnomes.
Under the broom.
Through the box.
In and out of the paddling pool.
Hurdle over the rake.
Spin the flamingo.
Crawl underneath the trampoline.
Balance over the skipping rope.
Leap down from the rope ladder. And if you get pulled back by a competitive dad, he's gone too far.
Created and produced by Frank Brennan and Marty. You can follow the Hammerbarn Project on facebook.com/HammerbarnProj, at HammerbarnProj on Twitter, or Hammerbarn_project on Instagram. Theme featuring Nibblings, Kaylee, Jade, Ashley, and Ree, and PA announcements by brother-in-law, me, Josh. Thanks for listening, and remember to get down to Hammerbarn for cheap shovels.